Deluxe Ratchet. Yeah, I actually got this thing. So here is Ratchet in his vehicle mode, and it's actually an ambulance. What I'm mainly going to do is show the differences between this figure and the original Ironhide release, which, just a note, I have custom painted up. And I gotta say, just looking at the two figures side by side, they really did a whole heck of a lot to make it look like an ambulance rather than just like some kind of big war truck thing that Ironhide was. Like, if you look at the shape, you've got the front coming to a point here, and that makes it much more aggressive. And then on Ratchet, you've got the front being more flat, with the bumper actually sticking out more from the front. And you've also got the emergency lights here, as well as other things that do help it make it look more like it's for medical purposes, which I'm honestly impressed by. In terms of functionality of both modes, they're the same. They're going to scale the same pretty much. Like, this adds extra bulk to the front. Like, there are a lot of remolded parts on the Ratchet figure, but like the bumper makes it like a millimeter longer just at these 2 points here. And in terms of all of the different pieces that are mainly visible in robot mode, you've got these pieces here on the back, which are so similar looking that it really makes you question why they bothered doing it. Take a look between the two. You could have just repainted this part and it fundamentally would have looked the same, so it kind of feels like a waste. The wheels as well, I'm not sure what visual difference we really get. I mean, don't get me wrong, the wheels look cool, but when you've got these two next to each other, they barely look different. It feels like the budget should have gone somewhere else. These parts up here on the roof obviously are different. Bumper, again, is obviously different. Aside from those 2 points, nothing else is obviously different, or they're just the same. To note, the windshield here on Ironhide I have painted. Originally it was clear and you could just see the head. And on Ratchet, out of the box, it just has this blue tinted window. You can see the head, but it's not completely clear like Ironhide's was. At the same time, it's not as egregious to see the head. It's less noticeable. Now the Autobot symbols here are in the same place. Ironhide had silver trim around it, whereas Ratchet doesn't. The thing is, point with Ironhide is the Autobot symbol's red, and Ironhide is red, so it makes sense. Red stands out on Ratchet. In terms of Ratchet's standalone paint, it is kind of odd, it's kind of weird, it is alien, and that's good considering this is an alien ambulance. So you've got these bits up here, and that bit does help it look more like some kind of medical vehicle, despite it not actually having any crosses or anything on it, so I'm kind of impressed by it. These parts here on the top are also red. Also got red here. It's basically just little areas of red. In terms of weapon storage, you can put the weapons like this, and this makes them the lowest profile, and then you just take it onto the roof. You have the blast effect peg right here, and right here. There's also a blast effect peg right here for if you want to actually put an explosion part on. There's pegs here if you want to put some blasts in there and make it look like he's going fast. Other than that, that's it for the vehicle mode. His secret third mode. Now here is Ratchet in his medical bay mode, and no, I'm not showing transformation because transformation for this is honestly kind of idiot-proof because, well, that's it. And if this mode looks stupid as Ratchet, then oh boy, if the people who tried to get Ironhide into it upon seeing the promo images, then yeah, no, it still looks stupid. There's really no point to this except for having less pegs for weapons and stuff, at least for Ironhide, so it makes less sense in the vehicle mode. But for Ratchet, the whole point is you kind of just put a figure in here, and then you have the arm work on him. You can fit, of course, Legends, Micromasters, and stuff in here, and they do look decently sized with it, but the problem here is Ratchet is it's a deluxe figure, so if you try to put another deluxe on it, like Ironhide, well, that's obviously not going to work, because because Ironhide's gonna spill over the edge. And, oh, Lord knows you try to put a Voyager like Optimus in, but if you take Legends class Bumblebee and you put him in here, then he pretty much takes up the entire area of what you would consider to be the bed, which is pretty much from here to the top of the feet. This mode, I feel, doesn't add much to the figure aside from forced play value, because hey, it is cool to have a robotic arm working on people. However, when you try to move this robotic arm around, you end up moving the actual arm of the robot, because it doesn't tab in. In fact, let's get to an issue here. Basically, nothing tabs into this robot mode aside from the legs to each other. And with my figure, the waist swivel here is a bit loose, so that does cause issues. And not only that, but if you apply a bit of pressure, it collapses in on itself, because again, nothing tabs into place. With Ironhide, the joints in it are a bit tighter for me, so it ends up being a more solid mode for him. Ironically enough, Ironhide kind of does this mode better. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of getting the weapons and stuff, you pretty much take off this from the back and then peg it into what was the barrel of the other mode for it, I guess, and then just place the other gun wherever. So this definitely is the weakest mode, and that's exactly what I expected it to be, so let's just go to robot mode. Here is War for Cybertron Siege Ratchet and his robot mode. And again, I didn't show transformation, it is exactly the same as Ironhide. If you really want to know about the transformation, just look up a video on Ironhide. And speaking of him, here are the two figures next to each other, and yeah, putting them next to each other, you really can't notice much of the differences until you get a closer look. And when I say differences, I mean in the molding. Like the shins here on both figures, they almost look the same. Shoulders are more obviously different because you do have the spiked portion up here. And of course, the heads of both figures are different. You've got the more classic Ironhide, and you've got Ratchet here with the black crest, and I'll be honest, the face that looks a bit too young for me, but this is for Cybertron, so a younger Ratchet makes sense at that point. The most obvious differences between the two figures comes from the paint. The white and red does make this figure really stand out on a shelf. Figures like Ironhide, Sideswipe, and Optimus, like those figures, they've got a lot of red in them. I do wish there was more color diversity in the line like Hound. Currently on my War for Cybertron Siege Autobot shelf, Ratchet here does stick out a lot. And he does look pretty good next to Ironhide. With the molded parts, again, I think the most difference comes in from the silhouette via the bumper of the other mode. This here does give like the smallest added bit of bulk to his shoulders. And even then, like, the shaping here too, whereas on Ironhide it was, you know, square and blocky, here it's more rounded, and kind of lessens the threatening appearance that Ironhide did have. He's well, I'm gonna go ahead and coin the term right now. He's been Baymaxified. It's where you take something hard-edged and scary-looking, and then you make it cute, cute and round. And for the most part, the remolded pieces do kind of do that a bit, because it does kind of feel like these have softer curves than Ironhide's shins. Ironhide also had these blocks on the top of his shoulders, and here on Ratchet, they're rounded spikes. So, hey, yeah, that's pretty much it for the differences. And as you can see, both the figures exactly the same height. There's no difference in scale. So if you know how big Ironhide is, you're gonna know how big Ratchet is, because again, exact same figure. Beyond that, let's go into weapons and accessories. Ratchet here does have a pistol, again. There's a port here for attaching blast effects, there's a peg on the back for connecting to other weapons, and then there is the handle. So that goes right into Ratchet's hand, right there. Ratchet also has the all-important cyber spanner, or whatever this is. It's a wrench. You can, of course, put this in his hand, which, yeah, the hands are different. Again, they don't really have any effect. I don't feel like there's any point in the hands being different molds. However, the forearms here, especially on this side, they are different, and I do feel like those were necessary addition. On this side, Ratchet has some extra tools and bits, and on this side, it's just flat. So, that is kind of neat. I do like myself some barely noticeable asymmetry. That's why I liked TLK Megatron so much. And if you want to completely undermine the medical look that these tools give him, like the welder and wrench, go ahead to the back. Big gun, a big ol' missile launcher. What? Okay, look, I get that the G1 figure came with this, but it really does not fit the figure here. Especially since it's a very small thing, and it's just sitting there above his head. It feels honestly really pointless. If you want to make it look less small, you can go ahead and take the gun welder on, and then you got that sitting above his head. But still, it really doesn't fit the figure here. Like, hey, I get it. It's a robotic arm for the medical bay mode, and it's got uses with Ratchet for other things, but I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't fit. Now, for Ironhide, though, it does feel like it fits better on Ironhide. He is the weapons-toting guy, and he already comes with a big old missile launcher already, so it feels less out of place on it. But, hey, I guess it's supposed to stay with Ratchet. One other piece that I found that could be different, who knows, maybe there's more, but they're completely unnoticeable, is the crotches. The crotches on both figures are different. Again, doesn't really feel like there's a point of the crotches being different. If you come around to the back, the butts are also different, except for the stand hole, and then the actual backs, like the structure of the backs. That's different as well. Like, I'm not sure if all this remolding is what caused him to have to be an exclusive, but if it is, I don't like it, right? Like, it feels useless. There's no point to so much of it. If you like it, if you think that all this remolding is absolutely worth the figure being so extremely rare, then go ahead and buy it, I guess. To each their own. But to me, it's useless. To me, it's useless. But hey, I like the figure nonetheless. I liked Ironhide. If you liked Ironhide for the figure he was, and you want to get this Ratchet, go ahead. He's not bad. He's not terrifically worthy of being an exclusive, but he's not bad. So, this has been Nexus 8846 Productions. This has been War for Cybertron exclusive, War for Cybertron Siege exclusive Ratchet, and signing off.